David, am I doing this right? Am I coming in the right way?
I know, it could be confusing, right?
Oh, I love
Good
it.
to see you. Welcome to the West. Don't go there, because that's bedrooms. I'm going to take you the best way to see the house. Straight ahead,
Okay.
and into the garden, and down, and we're going to go into the living room and the heart of the house. You know, it's almost like Neutra is interested in the outside, the part of the rooms as the inside, because it's small inside.
It's like a puzzle in here in the very best way. Thank you.
Well, it is like a puzzle in the diagram, but in the experience, it's actually not that different being inside than outside. You know, which is very
kind of
much
seamless.
the intent of this design, and the fact that Neutra's whole idea about California was that it would be the fantasy that you could actually live outdoors. I think that's what this architecture is about. So, you know, there's a lot of folklore attached to this house, and it was built in 1959 for Hitoshi Ohara, and these are his two children in a famous Julius Schulman picture of the living room, which looks very different now because I have different things in it. But one thing that hasn't been different is that I also have two children, and I've thought of this picture many times when I watch them in the living room, just being kids. Julius Schulman shot the house extensively from the next lot before the house was built that's there now, so you can't see this view now, but it shows how much Neutra really developed the idea of stepping pavilions for this house. It's a sectionally very diverse house, which they aren't all like that, but this one is. Here's the original picture of the entrance.
You know, it's very ironic, I'm sure it's not lost on you, that you are a Harvard Architecture School dropout, the first one we've ever filmed, and I say this very reverentially, and now you're living in this highly historic, iconic house.
It is ironic, it is.
And I think he would love that. I do.
I don't know. I get nervous around really, really highly credentialed architects about whether they'll love it or they won't love it, but I can tell you that the Dean of Harvard, Moshe Mostafavi, came here and spent a very long, happy morning with me in this house, and then invited me to lecture at the school, at the GSD, after he came here. Harvard didn't pay that much attention to me until they saw me living in this house.
One thing I think is so cool is you've become a designer, and one of the things that you like to say about your style is that you like to give modernism a kind of warmth. And I see that immediately from walking in here. That you
I learned a lot about how hard it really was to do that from this house, and from, you know, Neutra had a very strict sort of approach to interiors. He actually liked them empty, and when he photographed the houses with Julius Schulman for all those famous black and white pictures, they would take all the furniture out. I wanted to do something completely different than that here. I had seen many Neutra houses, including this one when I bought it, very well restored, like a car, you know, completely correct. And I wanted to experiment with great European furniture and exotic contents, like African, you know, stools, like sculpture by Arp, and this lamp behind you, the crystal lamp, is Jean-Michel Frank. Things I had never seen in a Neutra context, but that were modern. So in Europe in the 30s, this was going on, but it wasn't here, and it wasn't ever in case study houses in LA that I had seen. But if you look at early Mies and that kind of thing from the 30s, it's full of zebra rugs.
They were doing that.
They were interested in tribal furniture.
And might I add,
the exotic.
a family lives here. Okay, so it has to be comfortable for your children.
Yes, and fun.
And fun, which it is. And I'm so, I really, when I say seamless, I mean the glass, the walls, that I'm as much inside as outside here.
So let me show you how true that is. You're right to say it, but
oh my gosh.
Is it a wall? Is it a window? This is the way before air conditioning, these houses were meant to be lived in, was with these huge sliders open all the time, and I think that it has to do with also Neutra being European. They really appreciated this California climate.
How often do you do that? I mean, how do you use this house?
Not enough. You noticed it was pretty creaky, but
So now you're going to start.
But I can do it, and thanks to you, I remembered to do it. And another thing that is something we can remember now that I did do it is Neutra is very interested in the sound of water. Okay, he takes a garden and tries to make it at least as important as the interior experience. So we're looking at water from that side, where Silver Lake.
Right, we're looking at an actual lake.
But we're hearing water on the inside of the garden, which amplifies the experience of looking at the water unconsciously.
Hey David, I have a question.
What's that?
When people bought Neutra houses, did he design them with some, like for example, the sofa, did they even come with the furniture that he wanted people to live with?
This sofa was built in and it was always here. I had, I got stuck a few times in this house, and I had help from a friend of mine called Paul Fortune, a great decorator and a great sort of guy around LA. When I got married, I thought my wife would be happier working with Paul than with me.
Gee, why is that?
As it turns out, I wasn't really right, because she didn't want to decorate at all with anybody. She just wanted to go surfing and enjoy the house, which is something that comes naturally to her. But Paul and I ended up doing a lot of things in this room together, and he really saved the house from being too monochromatic, which might have been my instinct. He chose this fabric.
I was going to ask, because it almost feels like this fabric is so, like it came with the house in the very best way. It feels very vintage to me.
It's very believable now that you see it. But what was here before was solid orange, and one single leather egg chair, and that was over and out.
When you bought it.
Yeah.
And that's what stuck you a little bit.
And it takes guts to do something like choose fabric that's completely from another cultural point of view, and know that it will work because we're looking at foliage outside, and Paul wanted to enliven things in a way that I had sort of become numb to because I had already lived in it.
Love all these back old issues of magazines and books. Wait, what? Is this, dare I ask,
yes,
who I think it is?
Thank you for noticing that. That is a Lalanne bird table that I was very nervous about bringing here, because Neutra is, about being empty space and plainness and this sort of humility of all of this plywood construction. But I like to look at Lalanne as how much fun it is, not how valuable it is, which is something that has been sort of hard to ignore lately. I love the exotic aspect of this table, and I couldn't resist trying to put it in this sort of strict Neutra orthogonal box. I moved it to 10 different places out in the room, trying to have it play a major role in the middle with space all around it or something, and none of that worked. So I was forced to make a retreat and put it against the books, but I love having it here. You'll go to 100 Neutra houses, if there are 100, you'll see beautiful furniture, but nothing as weird as this inside. Nobody has Lalanne in it. The house inspires reverence, and the house actually gets fan mail. This is a card and a beautiful drawing of the entrance facade from somebody who wants to come and see it. And lots of times I wake up on Saturday morning and there are groups of architecture students on the front lawn. So one of the treasures that came with the house was the original spec book and plans, and this is to the builders, Hitoshi Ohara, 1958, and it contains all of the specific instructions about construction details, what kind of toilet bowls to use, things that wouldn't have been clear in the set of drawings to Neutra's satisfaction, because he was very meticulous about overseeing contractors and how things were built. So this is Neutra's own spec book that was supplied to build the house. And when I bought it, the owner sort of felt it was a sacred trust that these passed with the house to me. And sometimes I take them out and look at them just by myself. Susanna, I wanted you to come down to my bedroom and see that it's not all about beige and neutrals and clear space in this house. I thought there should be one good, hot, defiant nighttime room.
I'll say totally different. I mean,
you might not like it, but I hope that you respect it at least.
I respect. I mean, red tartan.
Yeah, I started with the tartan carpet. I knew I wanted to bring this desk that had been in my parents' apartment at 1020 Fifth Avenue when I was born.
I was wondering if there was a history behind it, because I was like,
I didn't buy it for the house, but I extracted it from my father for the house.
Love that.
And then this wall of art that I love waking up to with more sculpture. My favorite Calder tapestry. I like them all, but that probably is my favorite.
And your children's art, I presume.
The best of all.
The best of all.
Better than Calder, better than Twombly, my kids. Yeah.
Talk to me very quickly about the interesting choice of the red backdrop for this. It's almost like its own gallery wall here.
Yeah, I just think in a room this small, which is all about the view out of it, you've got two moves. And so once the carpet was red, the walls had to be red. Because one wall is plywood, and I didn't want to get too ahead of myself in here.
And as the final note in this sort of continual exhibition space in here, can we talk about Turner movie classics
that
on
is
this
continually
stand?
exhibited? And it's very funny because I like to watch old movies sort of out of the corner of my eye while I'm doing something else at the desk or talking on the phone. But this house was shot by Mario Testino for Vogue, and he stationed himself in here. And at the end of the shoot, he said, "What is this channel with great black and white movies all the time?" He had never heard of TCM, so he was thrilled by it.
Don't miss another video visit. Click on the orange Q to subscribe and have Quintessence virtually delivered from our doorstep to yours.